Hey guys, it's day 259, or as now I'm going with weeks, it is week 37. This is Thanksgiving break, so it's gonna be a short week, but I still have a lot of good updates for you guys. I've submitted to Wix, I've submitted to Shopify, and I'm on to building a full standalone SaaS app for Dropboard. Let's get into it. So first, a general update. I've been referring to all my videos in terms of days, like day 7, day 14. And now that I'm on day 259, I've decided to switch to weeks. So this is week 37. A couple reasons for this. When I first started this journey, I wasn't really sure how I was going to do these videos. I thought there might be occasions when I was going to do like a daily journal, like maybe not every week, but maybe when something big happened, I'd pop in and say, hey, it's day 200 and here's something interesting that happened today. But in reality, the cadence works so much better for me by doing it at the end of my week, making it a review of everything I've done that week. Partially, I'm doing the renaming just to sync up with that mindset that these are weekly videos. But the other reason I want to do this is it reinforces the concept, at least in my own head, but also maybe in yours, that a founder's journey takes time. The idea that something's just going to happen in a couple weeks or a couple months even is wishful thinking. It's much safer to think long term when you're doing startup stuff. So think about in terms of months or even years, hopefully not. But anyway, the idea of talking about these videos in terms of weekly videos, I think is just better reinforcement of that this is a marathon, not a sprint. So this week I got a couple really big important things done. First of all, I submitted my app to the Wix marketplace. If you guys have been following for a couple of weeks, you know that I'm experimenting with these marketplace apps so that I can try to find a place where customers already are, because finding customers has been a real challenge. So I want to go where they actually are and find ways to involve myself in marketplaces where people are actually searching for apps. I'm starting with Wix and Shopify and just testing the waters to see how that goes. Now, I got some feedback from Wix and my support request to them that job boards don't do very well. My hopes for success on this are a little bit limited, but I also feel like it's important to put something out there and just test the water, validate it, see what the process of building an app for Wix is going to be even like. I want to get started on building apps for these marketplaces, and then I can always iterate and pivot around the idea. The bulk of the work really is figuring out how these marketplaces work and how to build apps for them. Development for Wix was fairly straightforward, a little clunky at times, but I have finished that up, and they have set an expectation for a 7-day review process. So hopefully by next week, I'll at least know something. I'm sure there's going to be a couple items to address. The other big thing this week was I resubmitted to Shopify. So if you guys have been watching for the past couple of weeks, you know that I submitted my app to the Shopify marketplace a couple of weeks ago, and then they had some feedback for me to change. I've finally gotten to the point where I've addressed all their changes and I've put it back in their court. I gotta say that this whole process with Shopify started out really pleasant, and then it kind of turned into a nightmare. They have really good documentation. They have a Slack group where you can talk with other people who are building for Shopify. That's all fantastic. They've got a lot of good expectations in terms of how your app should be and answers to common questions. Unfortunately, their technical review process is really sloppy and also complicated. Just a couple examples, using their own generated code. So the code that they have on their site that you can use to build your apps doesn't pass the main technical parts of their review. And because of that, I've been back and forthing with their support for over a week, just trying to get some pretty simple answers on some things. So that's been really I'm also developing in the blind a lot because they are seeing things that I'm not seeing on my end. So now that I've submitted to Wix and Shopify and I'm waiting on that, it's created this product called Dropboard. Just through the process of working through these marketplaces, that's what came out of it. I figure it is time to build a standalone SaaS app called Dropboard. I've already got so much of this code written. I really just need to package this up and create it as its own product. My guess here, since this is a B2B situation where an organization would buy this one time, I'm thinking about charging $29 a month for this really simple process. It's called Dropboard, and basically it is a job board that you can drop into your site, collect candidate applications and resumes, and you get them emailed to you, automatically converted to PDF. It's just a very simple way to beautifully show your job postings and collect those resumes in a really efficient way, and also in a way that's very friendly to the candidate. They get a really nice candidate experience. Very, very simple. So I think $29 is probably the right price point, although I may want to discount that during during the launch just to get the first initial users. And that makes me think I could do an AppSumo launch after that, hopefully try to seed some of those initial users, and then also circle back to the few contacts that I was able to make in my cold emailing spree from several weeks back and see if I can get them to use the product. Okay, so this is what Dropboard is going to look like on the Shopify marketplace listing. And this is the stuff that I kind of finished last week and got this all set up to go. Now I have this fully submitted back to them and we're waiting to hear back. Basically needed to create this same process for Wix. In my designs, I have all these Shopify screenshots, all the Shopify design assets that I needed to adjust and remake for the Wix environment. So I really just took a lot of the same kind of concepts and reworked it to show what it looks like within Wix. So that ends up looking like this. This is the Wix app marketplace. Remade the trailer video, added these screenshots that are specific to Wix, created an overview specifically for Wix, and fitting all this stuff into their specific formats. And just like with Shopify, I'm going with a $7 a month plus 7-day free trial. And I feel like that's a pretty good competitive place to be. I can always come out with more plans and more features to figure out if I need to get some higher price points in there. And then same thing on the landing page. This is the Shopify landing page Dropboard for Shopify. I'm using the Shopify colors here to kind of key into the fact that it's so well integrated into Shopify. And then I'm doing the same thing for Wix. So it's pretty much the same content, just with a blue branding and screenshots that show exactly how this works within Wix, which is slightly different from Shopify. I had to create a new tutorial video and a new promo video for this. That was all done this week, and I'm really happy with how that looks. So then I wanted to take all these designs, all the stuff that I've learned from, and create Dropboard as a standalone SaaS app. So I borrowed all these concepts from different places. So from Snaptro, I've got the whole header. This is the way Snaptro header works. From the job listings and job editing perspective, that's the UI that I built for Wix. The live editing works to basically get your board looking exactly the way you want it to look. I use that concept, borrowed that from Shopify. And then the whole logging in process, I've already built that on my Project Runicorn app that I've been working on. A lot of code was able to be reused, and this is basically what we're ending up with. So here's Dropboard, the standalone app that I just started this week. We're actually pretty far along here. So we've got the job listings, we've got the ability to edit these. This is exactly like Wix. And the job board section where you can create job boards that you'll place on your website. It gives a little preview of how each one looks. You can flip over to get the code for this, and it's just a script that you can copy and paste it onto your site. So I'm gonna have a tutorial video here and the ability to edit these job board names. And then eventually I've got the deletion working so far, but what I need to get done now is the customization piece, which is gonna be what I just showed you here, where you can completely customize your job board exactly the way you want it to be. There's gonna be a couple other housekeeping things to do once I get the edit customization piece working. There's gonna be account settings like deleting your account, and there's gonna be a billing integration so that I can get paid. But overall, we're actually pretty far along here. It won't be that long before I'll be able to get this thing launched. And when I was building this, I wanted to do something kind of new, and you always, anytime you're building a new product, I feel like there's all this inspiration to make something new out of it. But I really want to use the momentum that I already have. So I'm using this sort of same layout from Snapchat, like I was saying, trying to reuse as much as I can, because we don't know what customers are really ultimately going to want out of this experience until we get enough of them. So we really just need something very nice and functional and a pleasant experience. I don't need to go reinventing any wheels right now. Okay, so that's it for this week. It's been a short week. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the US. Stay in touch and keep up with me next week when hopefully we're going to hear back from Shopify and maybe Wix. Thanks, guys.